Hey mate, remember last time you could told me about investing in stocks and how much return it can bring? Well, I've decided that it is definitely worth the research.
To be honest, I don't really remember the specifics, but stock investment can definitely be higher than your normal account at the bank. The savings account I'm referring to.
Well, can you give me some crash course on what the stock market is and what does it actually do? I guess it's a pretty new thing, right?
Well, guess again, it's much older than what you actually think.
100 years old?
Longer than that. The exchanges between nations have actually been going on for over 10 years. But as a world-known first stock exchange in modern history relates back to the Dutch East India Company. Heard of them?
Well, Pirates of the Caribbean, mate. I remember them from there. Pretty rich guys.
Not the Flying Dutchman, come on. Who was the pirate? But the Dutch East Indian Company. They were the grand establishment in the 17th century, having the largest number of ships that were trading all sort of at that time in the world. They could also be the ones that have brought the spices from Asia to Europe.
Okay, so not the Davy Jones then. Just kidding. But it's amazing how basically globalization has evolved because of these guys.
Talking about globalization, just imagine the size of their operation, having hundreds of ships, thousands of employed people. Voyages were super expensive and somebody had to pay for it.
So whoever financed them must have had all the money in the world, eh? Who was that rich guy? Sounds like a pirate to me.
One part of the operation was coming from the monarchs, who have ever wanted to have nicer things and were ready to pay for it. But the Dutch East India Company was just too large for any individual monarchs or thereabouts. And what they have done is to turn to private citizens, where they were offering individual investments to support the trip in exchange for a share of the ship's profit. By offering this service, all of a sudden, they were able to rapidly increase in size and operations by making themselves and their investments very wealthy.
Almost forgot we started talking about the stock market in the first place. So they started getting money from anyone who is interested in making money, but not so interested in voyaging through the sea, right?
That's exactly right. The investment was specific for a specific trip or business venture, going from owning a share in the shipment yard like the ships, or having the likes of the stock, coffee beans, spices, shipping ports, etc. Just like the stock exchange works today, they have been offering an ordinary person to invest in anything that they would have liked.
That sounds quite simple then. I can't understand why everyone is saying that stocks are so complicated.
400 years ago, it was pretty simple. You knew who they were. Today, just for example, an American stock exchange has over 15,000 companies. Besides that, there are numerous schools, YouTubers, full channels, and careers that are fully dedicated to the stock exchange itself. Imagine that this is the only one of the examples being in America, where every single country has its own stock exchange with its own listed companies.
Okay, I think I slowly start to understand why people say it's complicated. So, how do companies and investors interact today? Maybe you can give me some examples?
That's a really good idea, Eugene. Let's have a look at the example. In the current situation, any company that is creating a product or service goes through several stages and they have numerous options. The options are either to borrow money from their friends and family, from Kickstarter offering something back, or get it from the investors. And the first seeds comes from large commercial investors who can reconfirm whether your idea or service is good enough. And this action is usually called the seed rounding or Series A rounding. This is when the company sells a percentage of the company's stock to the investors for the share in their company.
Can I get onto the seed round or Series A round? want to find the next Google, and I think I saved about, 10,000 US dollars.
Unfortunately, $10,000 won't be enough for the Series A funding, as the Google type of service will be looking at raising millions of dollars and looking for investments from companies that understand how they can help them to grow, promote their services.
Oh man, I guess investing in companies is not for me at all. If only I had $1 million.
Don't give up hope. There is a way of getting a piece of Google for your 10 grand. When the companies are ready to go to the stock exchange, when the bigger partners will go through the IPO, which will allow them to sell their shares to anyone who wants to invest.
Alright, thank goodness. So, long story short, seed investment needs millions and available only to a selected few of this planet. But after IPO, anybody can buy it, and this is when $10,000 is enough for investment to start, right?
That's exactly how it works. You got it right. When you're on the stock exchange, you can help a company to grow by investing into their shares. And the more it becomes successful, the more buyers may want to see the potential and continue buying the stock. As the demand for those stock increases, so does their price, increasing the stock for prospective buyers and raising the value of the company's stocks people already own. For the company, this increased interest helps them fund their new initiatives and also boosts an overall market value by showing how many people are willing to invest in their idea.
So, why don't companies go IPO in the first place? I mean, you can raise more money and grow with the market than looking for individual investors one by one, right?
This is a whole heap of process these days. It is not the time from 400 years ago where any company was able to sell the shares in the coffee bean stock, for example. These days, you need to comply with the government regulations. It is very costly exercise from both time and money. As you can imagine, without any money coming through, this task is almost impossible.
Wow, but it's good, right? I mean, that means all companies there have been checked before going to the market, and you will not lose your money, right?
After a series of fundraising and going to IPO, those investors have invested in the beginning would want to take their cash out. So now all they want through the government regulations, they cannot stop dumping of the shares. Also, if the company is not profitable, as it was predicted by the stock valuation, is going to decline, which will get the investors to sell the shares to take the profit before the company loses more value. As stocks are sold and demand for the stocks goes down, the stock price falls, and with it, the company market value. It's like those rats running away from the first sign of the ship is drowning.
So, what actually influences the stock price?
Several factors: economic activity of the country, the output of the company. The biggest thing is the investors and their perception. If the perception of the company by the investors goes down, they can kill the company overnight by selling all of the stock and dumping its value for a strong performing company.
Danger and complications are very clear now. So, are there any strategies that professionals use to eliminate the risk? I mean, how do they invest?
Professionals look at the several things. They look at the fundamentals, technical, and the upcoming changes in the global economy that may affect their investment, like the shares in the company.
Oh boy, I knew it. To learn all that, I need to go to uni and get a bachelor's degree in that.
Interestingly enough, none of the skills are actually being taught in the university. They're usually street smart investment experiences that you will be gaining when you get into it. Look also at the example of rumors, bad publicity, or larger factors like new laws and trade policies. And of course, plenty of investors are simply ready to sell valuable stocks and pursue personal interests.
I see. So I can learn from these public sources, right? That's cool. After doing some research, what's my next step?
You can listen to experts who are consistently building tools and efforts to increase their chances of success in this highly unpredictable system, and by promoting them. But be careful with the self-made millionaires promoting the videos via Instagram or any other social media, sitting in the expensive cars like Rolls-Royce. Highly likely there will be scams. But the stock market is not just for the rich and powerful. With the dawn of the internet, everyday investor can buy stocks in many of the exact same ways as a large investor would. As more people educate themselves about this complex system, they can too trade stocks, support the businesses they believe in, and pursue their financial goals. The first step is getting invested.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Creative Concepts. As always, there are three people behind these videos, which are Firuz, Kerry, and myself. Please like, share in our video, and subscribe to our channel so we could make more awesome videos and see where my journey to financial freedom takes me next. Thank you.